Pam Bondi and Kash Patel have long been at odds, but that tension has now erupted into a full-blown internal war. Bondi appears to be positioning herself for survival, and in doing so, she has effectively begun throwing Patel under the bus, something she all but confirmed in a recent explosive post. With pressure mounting, Bondi seems to understand that someone has to take the fall, and Dan Bongino clearly wasn't a sufficient sacrifice. Now, she's going all in on pushing Patel out of Donald Trump's orbit, signaling a deepening MAGA civil war within the administration. Before diving further into how this maneuver is unfolding, it's worth noting the role Representative Robert Garcia is playing as he urges DOJ officials who want no part in these alleged crimes to protect themselves and ensure Bondi is finally held accountable, a message every Democrat should be echoing.
Spend this entire period of time, last few months, claiming that you have the files ready to be released. The president, of course, the entire campaign saying they want to release the files. And then this all-out effort to hide them from the public, to stop the will of Congress, to not answer the oversight subpoena. What they need to understand is that there are hundreds and hundreds of FBI agents and others that are good American patriots that have worked to put these files together. They know what's in them. And I have also a message. I have a message to all of those FBI agents, all the good Americans that want transparency and justice. We, of course, are interested in talking to you. If you are a whistleblower at the FBI, at the Department of Justice, if you know and worked hard to put the files together and are seeing your work now being hidden by your own Department of Justice, contact the Oversight Committee. We have whistleblower protections. We want to make sure that the truth gets out, that the survivors are protected, and we are hearing from folks across our government who have seen or know what are in these files, and we want you to know that you will be protected. We want that information, and the American public deserve the truth.
This should be the message coming from every single Democrat. If you are doing as little as getting Pam Bondi a cup of coffee, you are involved. You are complicit in a criminal cover-up. This is not about a single lapse or one isolated moment where Pam Bondi broke the law and everyone moved on. She is actively breaking the law, and so is everyone around her at the DOJ, because she is not redacting these files by herself. There is a coordinated team of Trump loyalists working to shield him, and every person involved must be held accountable. That is why anyone connected to this effort should be prepared to come forward as a whistleblower and expose what is happening, because this is not a one-person operation. Ironically, that same reality applies to what they are allegedly covering up, Epstein's criminal network. And if you had asked Kash Patel about that just a few months ago, he would have told a very different story. That contradiction is exactly what Pam Bondi is now exploiting, using Patel's own words to suggest perjury, and in the process, throwing him squarely under the bus.
You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself? And you said himself, there's no credible information, none. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And Kennedy, the information we have, again, is limited. And Senator Kennedy said, the answer is no one. And you said, for the information we have. So is it your testimony today that in all the Epstein files, that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked no one to anyone but himself? Is that your testimony, Mr.
I never
Patel?
said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic anyone else.
Did he traffic any young woman to someone other than himself? That was Mr. Kennedy's question, Senator Kennedy's question.
The information that 3 administrations have had access to have made determinations that there are no investigative leads that were credible to prosecute and investigate any others. I'm specifically stating
whether
we were
your
working
testimony today.
Well, you just read it, and I said it 10 minutes ago, so let the record reflect my testimony.
I just want to make sure there's no misunderstanding, because there are victims like Virginia Guifer who have testified otherwise, who have said otherwise, and you're telling the American people today that the Epstein list is a single name and it's Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we're to believe?
That's not what I'm saying. That's what you're saying.
It's important to understand that this alleged cover-up does not involve just Donald Trump. and not simply because he has a long history of standing by powerful criminals. Trump has consistently surrounded himself with figures accused of serious wrongdoing, from sex criminals like Jeffrey Epstein to war criminals such as Benjamin Netanyahu and business figures he aligns with like Elon Musk. This pattern matters because Trump understands one key risk. If the names and crimes of Epstein's other accomplices are fully exposed, that trail could lead directly back to him. That's why Patel previously pushed the narrative that no one else was involved. But now Pam Bondi appears to be changing that story, and the timing is telling. Midas Touch was quick to highlight this shift after Bondi made her post, underscoring just how revealing this reversal may be. Bondi wrote, "The Department of Justice previously stated, we will bring charges against anyone involved in the trafficking and exploitation of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. We reaffirm this commitment and ask any victim to come forward with any information pertaining to any individuals who engage in illicit activity at their expense. We have met with many victims and victims groups and will continue to do so if more reach out. Please contact myself, Deputy Attorney General Blanche, or the FBI, and we will investigate immediately. We believe in the equal standard of justice in the country and will ensure that justice is being served." Midas Touch responded to this post writing, "Why did the FBI director say this Reuters, reporting that FBI Chief Patel says no credible information as we saw others involved in Epstein's crimes?" Months ago, Patel tried to downplay the scope of the Epstein criminal network, insisting there was no one else involved and claiming that the information available at the time showed nothing further worth investigating, an assertion that conveniently insulated Donald Trump from deeper scrutiny. That claim is especially striking given that both Patel and Pam Bondi have acknowledged they had access to the full Epstein file, with Bondi openly admitting it sat on her desk and Patel repeatedly implying he had reviewed most of it. Despite publicly declaring that exposing the Epstein network would be his top priority, Patel ultimately walked that position back, shifting from calling it a major cabal to suggesting it barely existed at all. Now, Bondi appears to be reversing course, publicly asking for information about additional individuals involved in the trafficking, an abrupt change that raises serious questions about motive. One obvious explanation is that Bondi is searching for a new justification to delay or halt the release of documents by claiming there is now an ongoing investigation, a tactic previously attempted and largely unsuccessful. But this shift also places Patel squarely in the crosshairs. By implying that others were involved after Patel told Congress otherwise, Bondi is effectively suggesting he lied under oath, opening the door to accusations of perjury and making him an ideal scapegoat. That combination serves two purposes. It provides Bondi cover to further slow-roll disclosures, and it gives her a pretext to push Patel out entirely amid their long-running internal feud over the Epstein cover-up. This sudden posture of concern for victims rings hollow, especially as the DOJ continues to redact critical evidence, including photographs referenced by Jamie Raskin, underscoring that this is less about accountability and far more about deflection and self-preservation.
Nobody knows what happened, but I suspect somebody saw the photo there and demanded that it be removed immediately. So there would only be a handful of people who would have that kind of power to override what had been disclosed before, and there wouldn't be that many people who would be, I would say, irrational enough to think that that wouldn't be noticed. But beyond that, it's hard to know who's behind it.
All right. Well, let's talk about the law, which was signed by the president on November 19th, requiring the DOJ to release all unclassified Epstein materials within 30 days. And yet, DOJ admits It's only a partial disclosure. There's more to come. And many of these documents were heavily redacted. I had my colleague print out some of them here. I mean, for those of you who haven't seen this, okay, this is Grand Jury New York. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Another one from Grand Jury New York. Let's just do one more. Grand Jury. They're all like that. 119 pages worth from the New York Grand Jury file, completely blacked out. Is this release a violation of the law? Could it be obstruction? And how do you interpret these redactions and whether they cross the line into unlawful concealment?
It's absolutely a violation of the law because they were supposed to have turned over 100% of all the materials. And we know that they'd been through them before because they told us back in July that they had thoroughly scrutinized all of the materials in the file and could not find any basis to think that there would be evidence upon which a prosecutor could make any other criminal cases. So we know they'd been through it. They'd also summoned something like around 1,000 FBI agents to pore over all those materials to look for Donald Trump's name. And to redact his name and to bring to his attention whatever pictures, images, mentions, emails, texts there were. So they'd already been through it. It should not have been difficult for them to produce it according to the federal law, which was passed overwhelmingly by Congress and which Donald Trump purported to support.
This is an obvious cover-up, so obvious it can't be ignored, and we're going to keep calling it out every single day on this show. If you want to support that work, as always, hit the subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you made it to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Happy holidays to everyone. Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and Merry Christmas. I hope you're all looking ahead to the new year with some excitement. As for me, I'll be keeping my annual New Year's Eve tradition alive by watching When Harry Met Sally, which feels especially meaningful this year. Most of all, I hope you're enjoying the holiday season, and thank you for welcoming me into your homes. It truly means more than you know.